You are fluent if you can change these. And if fluency is something that you would like to achieve, please subscribe to the channel. That way I can become your teacher. My name is Wes. The channel is Interactive English, which is all about trying to help you reach your fluency goals. And I've been saying the word fluency a lot, and it's really subjective because I've met people before that say, I'm not that fluent in English, and then I hear them speak, and I say, well, you sound pretty fluent to me. And this is why other exams like IELTS, TOEFL, they end up using words like proficiency instead. And keeping that in mind, proficiency, we're going to do some sentence transformations today, and all of them are at a C1, C2 level. And this is Cambridge's highest. Those are the two highest levels of proficiency, which, based on the European framework, show that somebody has mastered the language. They have a high level of speaking competency and are able to express a variety of thoughts, ideas, and opinions. So if this is something you've never done before, let me explain it so you know what I want you to do. We're going to do a transformation exercise. And as you can see right down here, what does this mean? It's an exercise where learners are given one sentence and need to complete a second sentence so that it has the same meaning. And I think these are activities that you will find on proficiency exams like the IELTS or TOEFL or TOEIC. And I think the reason for that is because you end up, practicing a lot of different parts of the language. So it's not only using your knowledge of grammar and structure, but vocabulary as well. So we're going to do some keyword sentence transformations. I am going to give you one sentence as well as a word that I want you to use when you're writing the next sentence. There may be more than one way to do this for some of these. We'll see what you come up with, but in general, you may need to type quickly as we go through this. If you're just joining us and you're new here, please write your name in the chat, in the comments. I love hearing from you. And I also want to mention that if you are interested in downloading these lesson notes that you see right here next to me, there is a link down in the description that you can access them when you join our community. I'll also throw it right there in the chat if that's what you'd like to do. If you're already a valued member of the Interactive English community, go ahead and check your inbox. I have already sent them to you so that you have them from here and into eternity. So let's start with this first one. And we're going to begin with sentences that are, these are transformations at a C1 level, and they'll get a little more challenging as we go through this. So the first one, I'm giving you the sentence up top. I regret not hitting the like button. Okay, you can see where we're going with this one. I want you to write another sentence using the word had, the word right here in the middle, and you're going to start out the sentence, I wish. And the sentences are going to have the same meaning. That's what these sentence transformations are all about. So you're going to write another sentence using the word had. It's going to have the same meaning as this sentence right here. I regret not hitting the like button. So this lesson does have a bit more typing in it. Instead of just writing a word, you're going to have to write several words, or even better, just write the entire sentence. And I'm going to go through and maybe give some shout outs as we go through this. Excellent. Nice, Julia, Ava, great job. So let me show you the first one, the answer. Sometimes there may just be one thing missing. I wish I had hit the like button. So we're talking about a wish, a desire. I wish I had hit the like button. So you see where we're going with this again. I'm kind of fishing for those likes. If you haven't done so already, yeah, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button. That way, at the end of the lesson, you won't be feeling like this. You won't be thinking, I regret not hitting the like button, or I wish I had hit the like button. Excellent. Great job. I love seeing all these sentences when people are participating. And even if you're watching this later, write the answers in the chat. This is interactive English. It's all about having you actively participate in the lesson. But well done. Nice. Lali. Takayo, nice. Good to see you. Rafaela, Lali, great to see so many members, familiar faces. Love it. Here's the next one. I almost always go out on Saturday night. This is an example. It's absolutely not true as far as like my life is concerned. But I want you to rewrite the sentence using the word ever and right down there. And I've given you most of it. I am at home on Saturday night. So again, these are keyword transformations. I want you to use this, but then you're also having to think about grammar, vocabulary. How are you going to change it around so that these sentences really have the same meaning? And I think the key word or phrase in here when you're looking at this sentence is almost always, because you really want to think, we're talking about almost always go out, but in the second sentence, you're talking about staying at home. So you have to think about, well, what's the opposite of almost always? What could you use? What adverb of frequency would be on the other end of the spectrum from always? Nice, Angela, well done. Manuel, yeah, some of these, again, they're a little tricky. And of course, I'm going to ask you how you guys did at the end. So the answer is I hardly ever stay at home on Saturday night. I told you to think about they're basically opposites. You almost always go out, so that means you hardly ever stay home. And you're thinking about expressing that opposite, those different adverbs between always and hardly ever. Almost always and hardly ever. Well done, well done. The next one. Again, we're going to stick with C1 for right now, and then I'm going to make it a little more difficult and challenging because I know that you love a challenge. So the sentence, I asked her if she needed more information. I think this one's a bit more tricky. So I want you to use the word else and complete the sentence so that it has the same meaning. I asked her if she needed to know. I think maybe this one could be more at a C2 level. So the sentence, I asked her if she needed more information, it means the same as saying, I asked her if she needed to know. And hopefully as I'm saying it like that, it can kind of, jog your memory of like, okay, I think I know what would go in that that blank using the word else. That is the key word right there that I want you to use. Very close. Vivi, very close. Rafaela, very close. And again, one thing, so some of you, this is the slight thing. The answer, I asked her if there was anything else she needed to know. So I know a lot of you, some of you I saw putting there is. I asked her if there is anything else. In this context, we're talking about, again, it's in the past. So there was. I asked her if there was anything else she needed to know. But I think everybody was kind of on the right track with this one, which again, I think is impressive because I thought this one was going to be a little more challenging and difficult. But great job. Well done. Okay, another C1 sentence transformation. It's easy for my colleague to speak in public. It's easy for my colleague to speak in public. Let's change this sentence using the word difficulty and filling in the sentence down below. My colleague, speaking in public. My colleague, speaking in public. So you can see some of the grammar changing as we go through this. For example, you have to speak in the first sentence, and then you have the gerund down below, speaking in public. So what sentence could you write so that it has the same meaning as it's easy for my colleague to speak in public? Great job. I think many of you definitely on track with this one. Ava, Lali, I think who else? Alona. I'm trying to give some different shout outs. You guys keep participating. I love it. I love it when it just keeps flying by. So the answer, my colleague has no difficulty speaking in public. So those were the three words that you needed to fill in there. Has no difficulty. Somebody has no difficulty doing something, and you'll follow that with the gerund. My colleague has no difficulty speaking in public. How about this one? Give this a try. And if you can't see that, of course, I'm going to read it. Losing weight will take longer than you think. Losing weight will take longer than you think. I want you to use the word lose, and when you're writing a sentence that has the same meaning, you won't be able to and then ending with you think. You won't be able to you think. Think about, again, other expressions that people would use in this situation. It has the same meaning as losing weight will take longer than you think. I feel like in some of these, if there was a slight or small mistake, once I end up showing you the answer, then I think for many of you, it makes perfect sense. And you might be thinking, oh, I should have gotten that. I think I should know that. So losing weight will take longer than you think. I want you to use the word lose when completing the next sentence. That was good, Daniela. That was really good. You could use that. I think I could say you're right, but I think the probably a more commonly used phrase, stellar, well done, is as fast as. You won't be able to lose weight as fast as you think. I saw like one in there, like as quickly as you think, and you. Like I said, with some of these, there may be more than one response. I do think it's more common for someone to use as fast as you think when talking about someone's ability to do something. You're not going to be able to do this as fast as you think. But again, as quickly as, that also works. The next one, we need to run or the bus will leave before we get there. I don't know why I'm reading this so slowly. We need to run or the bus will leave before we get there. All right, that's better. I want you to use the word time when putting together another sentence that has the same meaning, unless we get there. So of course, as we've gone through this, you're having to write a few more words in that blank spot. Again, I told you as we progress, I'm going to try to make these more difficult, and we're about ready to head into the C2 sentence transformations. So we need to run or the bus will leave before we get there. I want you to start out using that clause, unless, and then completing the sentence, we get there. I feel like as you're able to put together that first clause with unless, then the rest of it should just follow. We need to run or the bus will leave before we get there. So unless we do what? And then kind of put it together. Well done, nice, Catherine. Unless we run, starting out, we have that dependent clause right there. Then you could start putting together the rest with that independent clause. Unless we run, what's going to happen? The bus will have left by the time we get there. Unless we run, the bus will have left by the time we get there. So by the time is it's a challenging phrase. When when you're using by the time, when you hear that, you should automatically start thinking, okay, perfect tense, that you're going to use that. In this case, we're talking about the future perfect. The bus will have left by the time we get there, because again, we're talking about the future in here. We need to run or the bus will leave before we get there. Unless we run, the bus will have left by the time we get there. This one is a little more, I think this one's definitely a bit more challenging. So that last one maybe also could have been at the C2 level. I don't want to say that these are exact as far as the level, but all of them are at that advanced level of proficiency, C1, C2. But let's talk about some C2 transformations right now. And you like showing the picture of the transformers. Anyway, so the first one that I have for you, you rarely get less than 80% on these quiz lessons. For many of you who have been following me over the years, you know that I like to do these live lessons, these quizzes, have you participate and just practice your skills, whether it's vocabulary, grammar. And I enjoy this lesson in particular because you're able to practice both. So you rarely get less than 80% on these quiz lessons. I like to think that because I know you guys work hard, play hard, and you rock these quizzes. But I want you to use the word rare. I appreciate all those hearts. And complete the sentence down here so that it has the same meaning. It, less than 80% on these quiz lessons. So how would you complete the sentence? So they have the same meaning. It, less than 80% on these quiz lessons using the word rare. Well done, David Trace. Nice. Rare. So yeah, again, like we can make it a little more concise. Nice, Emma. Leah Marine. So the answer, it is rare for you to get less than 80% on these quiz lessons. And I will ask you at the end, and you can tell me what range do you think you were in as far as today's quiz lesson goes with these sentence transformations. So it is rare for you to get less than 80% on these quiz lessons. I believe this one probably is a little more difficult because there are just some slight mistakes that someone could make, whether it has to do with the verb tense or the phrasing. But here's the next one. Thanks to my colleague, we won the competition. Thanks to my colleague, we won the competition. I want you to use that key word for and complete the sentence down here so that it has the same meaning. Had lost the competition. So you'll notice that change as far as the opposites. Thanks to my colleague, we won the competition. And then in the second sentence, now I'm using lost the competition. Had lost the competition. What do you think? And this one, you really, it's, a bit more, grammar is involved with the construction because we're talking about something that is, hypothetical. It didn't happen in the case of the second sentence down here. Nice. Close. Sarah, close, getting there. Yeah, Vivi. So the answer, had it not been for my colleague, and that is a phrase that I want you to, had it not been for my colleague, it's a phrase that you would use to present like these contrasting ideas. Had it not been for my colleague, well, what would have happened? This is hypothetical. Well, we would have lost the competition. And I said there's a little more grammar involved in this one because you see that clause, the independent clause at the second part of the sentence, we would have lost the competition. It's similar to that third conditional. You have would plus have plus the past participle. We would have lost the competition. So the first part of that sentence, had it not been for my colleague, would be similar if you were going to use an if statement and say, if it had not been for my colleague, we would have lost the competition. So those phrases are interchangeable. Had it not been for someone or something versus if it had not been for someone or something. Those are interchangeable phrases, something to keep in mind when thinking about that third conditional. So let's look at the next one. As always, hopefully you learn something new with all of these lessons. That's always my goal, whether I'm teaching a concept that's a little easier or more difficult, that you just learn something new. And if you have learned something new, again, hit the like button. It just lets me know I should do more of these lessons. So what do you think about this? I included this one on purpose. He looks a lot like my teacher, Wes. Talking about myself, and you can let me know what you think. But I want you to use the word resemblance when rewriting the sentence here. He, my teacher, Wes. Now this one is a little more vocabulary related, and I'll tell you why once I give you the answer. He, my teacher, Wes. So you could say, Lolly, yes, that works, but there's one, I would say, there's an adjective missing. And I see another one, yeah, and this is where I feel like you could use more than one, because I want you to think which adjective, I'll go ahead and give you a hint, is going to go with resemblance. And I think it's a common collocation. So actually, you guys are giving great answers, and I think some of these sentences are right. I haven't seen the one that I'm about to show you, but like I said, you could use different adjectives in order to complete this sentence. So I think I see a lot of them, like he bears a resemblance to my teacher, Wes. Sure. I feel like this is what I had said. Okay, he has an uncanny resemblance to my teacher, Wes. And I was using an uncanny resemblance, which is a common collocation. So you could say someone bears a resemblance to someone. The only thing is, I feel like in saying like somebody looks a lot like someone else, that's a little stronger than like, oh yeah, he bears a resemblance. It's like, oh, you kind of look like this person. But thinking about those adjectives that you could use with resemblance, and I used uncanny resemblance. That works. It's like, oh, strange and mysterious. It's a common collocation. You could say, I see in the chat, a strong resemblance. That would also work. Somebody else mentioned a striking resemblance. That's another great collocation. A remarkable resemblance. You could even use like a strange resemblance. There are a lot of different adjectives that you could use with that. But I think in this situation, I think it's fitting to use an adjective with resemblance when rewriting the sentence. So once again, I think for this one, there are several ways that you could do this, but the real question that I have for you, and you can just give me a yes or no in the chat, in the comments, what do you think? So often I get comments on just random videos of people telling me that I look a lot like Mr. Beast, who is a very, very famous YouTuber, or that I have an uncanny resemblance to Mr. Beast. What do you all think? I personally take this as a compliment because he's much younger than I am. So I appreciate it when people telling me I end up looking like Mr. Beast. But you can let me know in the comments, in the chat, if you agree that I have an uncanny resemblance to Mr. Beast. Like, no. Oh, thank you, Lolly. I really appreciate it. So let's look at the next one. I thought that was a fun one. It's always good to get your feedback because, yeah, I end up getting these comments about maybe once or twice, once every month or two that I look like Mr. Beast. So that child is twice as tall as she was 2 years ago. That child is twice as tall as she was 2 years ago. I want you to use the word doubled and rewrite the sentence so that it has the same meaning. that child's in the last 2 years. I feel like there's some disagreement. Some people, yes, you do look like Mr. Beast. Other people, no. Thank you, Rafaela. I really appreciate it. Some people. So what do you think? The one thing I want you to keep in mind, of course, you can see that child's, we're using that possessive adjective in this case. So what are we going to follow it with? And if you know the word that you're going to follow that with, then I think the rest of the sentence will kind of do it. That child's in the last 2 years. Excellent. I'm seeing a lot of great answers. I think you guys rock this one. That child's height has doubled in the last 2 years. Perfect. And in this case, again, you're talking about the child's height. Well done. Okay, he promised never to lie again. I want you to use the word truth. Rewrite the sentence. He swore, now on. I think this one, again, some of a couple of those C1 ones that we've already done, I think were about challenging. I think you guys can get this one as well. And I enjoyed that picture of the pinky swear. Again, pinky swear, that promise that you'll never lie. This is something I always do with my little girl too. When she's like, I promise. Okay, pinky swear. All right, do you pinky swear? Very, very official, those pinky swears. So he promised never to lie again. I want you to use the word truth. He swore, now on. It's a simple sentence. Great job, David, Vivi. It's kind of moving fast. Great. Ava, try to give some shout outs. He swore to tell the truth from now on. Both of these sentences, they have the same meaning. You could use either one. What do you think about this one? And I think it's a little more vocabulary related. I don't think I made a good impression on my new boss today. So if somebody's sitting there telling you, look, I don't think I made a good impression on my new boss today. It's not good news. I want you to use the word foot when rewriting the next sentence with the same meaning. I think my boss and I might today. And it's important that you, again, I guess, identify this idiom. I'll go ahead and tell you it's an idiom. I said it's more vocabulary related, and that is really going to help you complete the sentence. And I think this is a good idiom to know. It is a C2 idiom, which is why I've put this sentence transformation at this level. I think my boss and I might today. What would you say? Some of you are close. Close. I still haven't seen it. A lot of you running it. You again, letting you use start. You could use that verb. I think there's a better verb to use in this case. I think in this situation, people are going to use it with the verb get and say, I think my boss and I might have gotten off on the wrong foot today. So to get off on the wrong foot, it basically has this meaning that you start something in a way that's, not good, in a way that you don't want to. And you say, look, I think you hear this a lot. Somebody says, yeah, look, I think we've gotten off on the wrong foot. And you kind of want to start over in this case. I think my boss and I might have gotten off on the wrong foot. So like I said, you could say like to start, we've started off on the wrong foot. I think it's more common in this context to use the verb get, but we're using that past participle, gotten off on the wrong foot, but you may also use like might have got off on the wrong foot because gotten, both of those are accepted as far as the past participle of the verb get. I think my boss and I might have gotten off on the wrong foot. So now is the moment of truth. I want you to let me know, how did you do on the quiz? Let me know in the comments. And for those of you who are here, hold on, don't go anywhere just yet. I'm gonna put a little quiz in the chat right here, so that you can just go ahead and tell me how you think you did. Wait, what happened to? I'm gonna put a poll in here, and you can tell me. I'll write it. How did you do on today's quiz? I told you before, I said less than, let's do it percentages. 80 to 100%. Let's do it 60 to 80%, because I had that one option. Let's say 40 to 60%. And of course you could just guess, and I'll just write the last one. Oh boy, like maybe you needed a little more work. So what do you think? You can share your results right there. How did you do on the quiz today? If you're watching this later, let me know in the chat. I always love hearing from you guys. And if you did learn something new, I'd appreciate it. Of course, if you hit that like button, it just tells me that, look, I should do more of these lessons. I think these are really great activities. I've already mentioned it before, because not only are you having to really kind of think outside the box as to, okay, how are you going to structure this other sentence so that it has the same meaning? You're really thinking about grammar, structure, verb tenses, but also using vocabulary as well. Just mentioned with some of those last ones like that, you'd really need to know or have heard of that idiom to get off on the wrong foot in order to complete that sentence. I think it's highly useful. And again, if you want to get these lesson notes, join our email community. There's a link down in the description. And I just can't help but checking out the results. All right, so this is a little more balanced. I think everybody was kind of in that 40 to 80% range, which tells me that, yeah, that you probably learned something new, and yeah, keep practicing these. This is a great little, I said that you're definitely fluent if you can change these, because again, this is an activity you will certainly find on many of these proficiency exams, doing sentence transformations, IELTS, TOEFL, TOEIC, because you end up using a lot of those different things that I just mentioned. So I really appreciate you guys joining me today. I always love it when you participate in these lessons. And I'm sure I will be back very soon for another lesson to help you test your skills when it comes to vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, speaking, a little bit of everything. So thank you very much. It was great seeing you. Let me show Lali, Rafaela. Great to see some members in here. Takayo, good to see you. I'll be talking to some of you soon as the next Speak Up course is getting ready to start. Manuel, Daniela, Talal, Joseph, thank you guys for joining me. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and I will see you.